Hold on. Let me just. I like to get ready.
All right,
Okay.
it's
Let me know.
recording.
Are you gonna ask me the question and then I'll answer and then I'll ask you?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. So I'll go first then. All right. So the first question says, please share about a time you learned something new that was challenging, if not very difficult, something that took place in effort over a period of time. That is swim classes, gymnastics, or summer internship, anything that was
Okay.
new to
So,
you.
sorry. So I think something that comes into my mind is when my first job, which was cash register at McDonald's. I was in high school and my friend mentioned it to me, and he said, "Hey, you should come and work with me. It'll be fun, and we'll have a good time, and um, you're gonna have some good money." So, and I did. I mean, I did kind of. I was really looking forward to be working with my friend more than anything. But as soon as I started working, I saw myself. Well, I found myself actually having a hard time remembering the registered functions, and I
Yeah.
remember that I would get nervous around people, and I would take like a lot of orders would be like not complete or with a lot
Yeah.
of mistakes. So that was very challenging, and it took me quite a time. Maybe I want to say like maybe like a month, maybe, which was very unusual. And I remember the supervisor getting upset with me, and times when he would almost like fire me because I
Ah,
was,
ha, 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 ha.
you know, I guess wasting a lot of time and trying to figure it out what to do and where to find things. So that was kind of challenging for me. So what about you?
For me, it was a similar experience. So when I started working at Starbucks and started doing drive-through at first it was really slow. Like I just learned to register, so I was learning where all the buttons were, going back and forth. Then I also I had to do it. Um, collect payments from it. People in drive-through, so I go back and forth. But like after a while, I just started getting good at it. Like for example, today I spent like my entire shift doing drive-through, and it just feels like second nature. Go back and forth, have a nice rhythm to it,
Yeah.
and like it's challenging at first, but with some practice and effort, it just it just gets easy. Like it's something you know how to do it.
Mm, makes sense. I
Yeah.
can really relate to that because, like I said, it's just for me, and I was like very young too. I was like 16, so I can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so relatable now. You know what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I still mess up orders here and there sometimes, and people get mad at like, oh well. I'm like,
Yeah. I
supervisor,
mean,
come over here.
there's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, question two is, what emotions did you experience? Be specific. Describe the feeling in your body.
All right.
For
So for
you.
me personally, it was feelings of anxiousness. Like I thought, crap, it's going so slow. Hold on, you disconnect it. Oh, you said I can't see you anymore on the camera. Oh, let me pop it over here. Okay, it's recording again.
Okay.
All right, question two. Um, so emotions experienced during this thing. So just anxiousness. So we have this one screen in the corner of the thing that says it drive times it, and when the drive times exceed like 10 minutes, the little cards start turning red. And it means that you're doing pretty bad. But then I realized it doesn't really mean anything. And like just getting a good rhythm and feel for like doing drive through it is gonna be the best thing. So I was anxious at first, but I got over it and I just go with the flow of things. And
Nice.
besides it, I can only go as fast as the baristas are making the drinks. So there's no point of it doing drive through too fast.
Yeah.
How about you?
Um, I really was, I guess because I was so young, I was really overwhelmed. And for me, it was kind of like I felt so insecure, because people knew what they were doing. And for me, it was kind of like if I'm not able to do this, then it's just kind of like, what am I going to do in the future, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
it was overwhelming because it was taking me such a long time to remember where everything was. And um, the fact that I guess I was thinking a little bit longer than everyone else was just um, inevitable for me to think that, you know,
Yeah.
that I was not a good fit for that job. So, um,
Uh,
yeah, that's how I felt.
yeah.
um, was there a time when you thought you could quit or had feelings of uncertainty about what to do?
Um, well, personally quit, no, because I only been working there for like a month or two. So I'm like, I'm not gonna quit just because I think it's hard. Like there's times where I thought, let me go do a front cashier or warming or make coffees at bar instead of doing drive through because it was probably the one thing I avoided the most because it had the most uncertainty to me and it was probably the hardest thing. And, but now that I look back, I'm like thinking it's not even that hard. I just needed to practice it. So I
I
didn't consider quitting, but I was just uncertain.
For me, I did think about quitting. I did thought about quitting, and I was like, you know what, like I gave myself like a kind of like a due date, kind of like if I'm not good by the end of the week, I'm probably gonna quit because I really was stressing a lot, and I was like in high school, and I don't know, like I was super worried about and I think about it now, and it's kind of hilarious that I was like
Yeah,
so I guess overthinking. But yeah,
yeah.
there were times I definitely wanted to quit, but I didn't. I even though I gave myself a date, I didn't. For some reason, I was like, no, I think I'm just gonna force myself to go for another week.
Well,
But
that's good. You
there were
push
times that I
yourself
definitely
push yourself to the limits.
quit. um, did you stick with it? Did you reach out for help? What did you say to yourself? Describe the process.
I guess for me, I kind of stuck with it. At first, I was hesitant to it. We drive through alone, so I asked my manager, like, "All right, can you help me out? I'll do it. Orders and you do it. Cash handling, so I don't do both at once." And then over time, I started doing both of these alone. So just taking baby steps in and practicing it was the best thing in
Yeah.
for it to stick in, I guess. You.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's the same thing happened to me. Like I said, I had like this date where I told myself if by the end of the week I'm not feeling good or I'm too nervous, I'm just gonna quit. But I stuck with it and I stick with it, and then I just forced myself kind of to be there, and I did it for like a whole month, and I think I was still nervous throughout the whole month, but yeah, it was challenging, and I think it had to do more like with age more than
Yeah,
anything, and being the fact that it was my first job, and yeah, it was just. But I did reach out to my friend though. I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, this is supposed to be fun, and I'm not having a good time." And plus, for some reason,
ah,
like we were working like different times most of the time, so it was just
yeah,
kind of like it wasn't as fun, I guess, as
yeah,
we both thought it would be. But I did, I was like, I'm not doing good and I might quit by the end of the next week or something. He's like, oh, no, 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 you'll be fine, just do your best, you'll be fine, don't, and he tried to give me an advice, and I was like, okay. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I was there for like a whole month, and then you know and then from there on I don't remember how long I was there, but yeah.
yeah.
um so what were the outcomes? For example, program finished, class ended, regrets of quitting. Like, what's the outcome?
I guess the outcome was it. I'm finally good at it now. Like, it's funny because when I got hired, there's two other people that got hired it, so we're
Hmm.
all like the newbies in. And there's this one day where it was just three of us working that day, that evening it, and we're like all right, we're obviously slow at this, but like let's just take our time, put in the efforts, and like we'll get through this. We're making
Uh-huh.
drinks hella slow, but we got through and we're helping each other out. All wearing the headsets. So when someone had a question, we're like, "Hey, come over here. Can you help me with this real quick?" And we all helped each other out.
Yeah.
And it all ended up working out. Like I guess in my situation,
I,
it's good that I have friendly coworkers but I know it's not always the case.
for me, I think my outcome, or I guess the most successful thing that I can think of for me that I took from that job is that I kind of grew as a person and started taking things a little bit lighter, you know. So,
Yeah,
which I think has benefited me on the long run, and so that's what I think.
that's great.
Um, so if you could speak to your past self in those moments, what would you say to provide encouragement? What would you say, Fernando?
Um, where's my Nike shirt that says "Just do it"?
Just oh, great! I
Yeah,
like that.
just do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't second guess yourself or think too much about it. Just do it, practice and over time you'll just get better at Like
Hmm.
uncertainty sucks at first because you're new at things, but after a while, you get used to you get better at it just becomes like second nature.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense.
How about you,
I
Red?
I think for me would be to believe in myself. You know, like be confident and
Yeah,
be, you know, like don't underestimate you. That's what I
yeah,
would say.
that's pretty good
Yeah.
advice.
As a future sales manager, how can knowing what people face with the new challenges help lead teams? What do you
Hmm.
think?
I'm gonna be a future sales manager. This is news to me. I'm just kidding. So I'm guessing that as a manager, you gotta put yourself in the shoes of your employees and think what might they be going through, what challenges might they face and what could you do as a manager to help them out to make these challenges easier or more um, um, I don't know, more easier to handle it, I guess.
You know, and it's funny because I was just thinking the same thing because I feel like if my manager knew how I felt at that
Yeah,
time, maybe he'll be a little bit less, or he would, you know, I wouldn't say he was really not aggressive, but he was like, you know, this, you're doing so many things that are wrong. And I really was trying my hardest. So, um, I think that, yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I, you know, 100% agree with you. Like managers need to be aware of what their employees are going through, definitely.
yeah, and more
Otherwise,
understanding
it's
to
just like there you'll bring more stress to them, and it's probably going to be worse at the end of the day.
it. Uh-huh.
What is a specific action that you could do to help others preserve with difficult new challenges? Do you mind
Hmm.
if I answer this one first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think for me, what really worked out, and you know, it was the organization for me. Like after struggling for like a whole month, and I was like, you know, I cannot be struggling with this. I think organizing my ideas and my thoughts about what could I do to not be stressing, you know? So I did really small things that at the end of the day helped me um, to not stress. For instance, I would be there 15 minutes earlier. And then in those 15 minutes, I would like walk around the dry storage and then the freezer and like, you know, greet everyone and try to kind of like make it like a conversation. Hey, how's it going? I'm here. But like looking at what was surrounding me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So for me, it was organization that made a difference. What about for you?
I have a similar answer. I think it's putting myself in a situation where I could help myself be more successful. I knew that drive through was going to be the most challenging thing. And so I told my manager, all right, can you give me practice when it's slow, like during non-peak hours? Like if you scheduled me on a closing shift day, have me practice it when it's slower in the afternoons. That way I get a feel for it. And then when it's finally time to like do it during peak hours, I could be more efficient and faster.
Yeah,
And so just setting yourself up in a position where you could practice it, get better, and yeah, just
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean that's
yeah,
pretty much it. You know, if you don't practice and if you don't organize what you have going on around you, then it's going to be pretty challenging, anyways.
yeah,
Okay, so I think that finishes the questions, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. Okay, all right.
Here, let me end this recording real quick. So